me down a little bit. All right, why don't we just kick that off? Hi everyone, and welcome to a pre-market for the European session. I'm going to try and do some more Euro session trading. It's Monday, the 24th of March, 2025. I'm looking at the FDAX at the moment. The German market opens in about 25 minutes. And let's see if we can get set up for the week. Typically, I do a weekly report and I post it on the weekend, but I think I might do that on a Monday before the session. I'll set it up as a live stream and we'll maybe we can have some questions. The process of creating a weekly report, I think, is a great discipline. I've been doing it for a few years now, and it really helps the trading. It's great to look back and see all the things you got totally wrong, and yeah, I think it's pretty good. So, we've got a couple of people on the stream. Hi, thanks for joining us. My sound says it's coming through. Connection says it's coming through. Just let me know if it doesn't do that. I'm a bit green. I'm using a green screen, but I'm not an expert at setting up the color settings. Oh, it's a little bit better. Look a little bit more human, a little less alien. So. Let's just get rid of those contract changes. Okay. So looking at the monthly chart, so we've got one more week of trading to go. What do we expect to happen on the monthly chart? Well, we've got a 20 moving average here. We've got a 200 moving average here. So we're in a bull trend and we're breaking out of the top of a bull channel. There's a couple of possible measured moves targets. You can look at the bottom of the channel to the top of the channel. You can also look at this measured move here that we broke out of, and we tested it at the start of the month. But we've got two big bull bars closing near their highs. We're breaking strongly out of that range, and we've got some open gaps. So we're always in long. This could possibly lead to a climax. Typically, if you break out of the top of a bull channel, you'll fail within about 5 bars. The reason is because traders, when they're trading a channel in here, are swinging for this profit target. Traders that take the breakout are trading breakout pullback for a second leg. So there's a changeover of the traders that are in there. Traders that weren't confident in here have a chance to buy. We've got a couple of other targets that I've been talking about on the reports. So if we take this spike, measured move about 23,000. We got up to 23.7, not quite to 24. We might do, I think there's a really good chance. You can see traders are taking profits and some bears are starting to sell as we go above the high of the bar. Where do the bulls want to close? Well, they definitely want to close above the high of last month. That's 23,242. Bears want to close inside the range. So if you look at a channel, put my pointer on, you'll notice that when we start closing within the range of prior bars, we form a channel here. So traders are not buying a full position above, they're buying below, expecting the channel to go sideways. You can see we close within a bull bar, pullbacks, and the same on the way down. So we're going down and you have a bar that closes inside as opposed to outside, we get a pullback and then more down. So that's on the monthly chart. Let's have a look at the weekly charts on the continuous contract. So you can see those pullbacks were there on the monthly chart here. Okay, so we've got a spike, pause, spike, pause, spike. So it's actually 3 legs up, but it was a micro channel all the way up. We had a bit of a double bottom here and we've got a gap. So some traders will look at it as a parabolic wedge, so 2 legs sideways, and then you might get a whole second leg from this. But you can see not a lot of traders buying above the high of prior weeks, so it's probably going to be the same for this week. So if we go above the high of this week, we'll probably go up and find sellers. And that's how you trade a channel. You look to buy and buy lower and take some off at new highs. Last week is a sell signal bar. It's not strong, it's got a tail below, but we went above the high of a prior bar and then closed near its low. It's a lower high, so that's good for bears, I think. The fact that bulls couldn't push it up to a new high, so we've got a failed breakout of this range here. So I think this range is going to be important. So that sell signal there is 23,242 is the high, which is where we're opening. So somewhere between 23,250 and 23,750, about 500 points. I think that's going to be the place for us to focus. If you're a bull, you can't really buy the close of that bar because it's got such a big tail. You can buy below the bar here. That was a reasonable buy. So if you're taking that buy, you need it to go above the high of a prior bar. So I think we're going to go there this week. We could do it on Monday morning. That'd be handy. But I think bulls are long from under this bar here, or you're long from a breakout pullback and a high one. You can also be long from there. So your target's 24,100. So I might put some of those on the chart. So any questions, feel free to send them in. Low is 589. So we need to just lining up this target. Oh, it's locked. That's why. Yeah, that's why it's not moving. 23,742. Okay, we're going to lock that. Yeah, so we missed it by 20 points. G'day, Victor. Thanks for jumping on board. I did. I had a great weekend. Very sunny in Taiwan at the moment. I got went and saw a couple of mates. They live down on the coast. Had a bit of surfing. Good fun. How was yours, mate? Okay, so we've got weekly bulls long. What do you do here? Can you sell below that bear bar? Well, usually I won't. I won't take this kind of a reversal. It's always in long. I'd have to wait to see traders get that bar to get triggered. So that's going to be weekly sell signal bar. And we'll lock him in as well. So I'd need it to trigger, pull back, and then maybe participate for a second leg. Okay, well that's a weekly chart. I think that'll do for us for now. So I'm on the etc. trading hours. Yeah, so this it basically, I don't like to be one of those guys, but it did play out how I thought it would last week. I said that we formed a similar pattern to ES, and when you have a strong high, deep pullback that goes to a new low, we know that breaks a trend line. We know we want a test of that high for a reversal, and we went all the way up here, and I said, well, who really wants to buy all the way up here after so much selling? And week high one, traders sold the close. So it was a good short back to the moving average. Okay, Ray, thanks for jumping on, mate. Talk about potential swing trades on the open. Yep, looking for strong first bar. I don't look for a strong first bar, often consecutive bars or the first 15-minute. Maybe that was meant to be a first 15-minute bar. But yeah, we can take a look at that. Lots of trading range price action last couple of weeks. So yeah, that's a good one. Thanks for sending that in. That's great. So we're at the daily moving average, and I might just put a line there so we know moving average. It's a lot of red, isn't there? Let's make some blue in there. Okay, lock him in. So have we got any gaps? Yep, we've got some gaps up here. Sure, we'll eventually get some software that just lines all this up automatically, but it is fun to just follow your process, get in the routine. If I trade and I don't follow my process, I just decide, oh no, I'm such a good trader, I'll just jump on and click buttons. That open's never very good. Or maybe that day's good, but that habit is horrendous. So last few trading weeks, says Victor, have been very challenging. I'll bet, mate, volatility has been very high on VIX. Difficult to trade. Yep. How do you know when not to enter the market? Mate, it's a great question. There's a lot of, what's the word? Emotional sensitivity, if that's the right word to use. So it's less about the market and more about myself. And I'll give you an example. Just give me a sec, I'll load up. Yes. Too many things on here. Too many things. Get dip gaps. Yep. Okay. Okay. So this was a Friday. This was quad witching options expiry. So this day, before you even enter the market, if you check the news, you know it's going to be a weird looking day. You know, it was a trading range, spike trading range. But that whole week, the whole last couple of weeks have been spike, which somehow turns into a trading range. You know, FOMC expanding triangle, huge spike, pull all the way back, strong spike, sideways. It's just not behaving the way you'd expect things to go. You know, super strong 15-minute buy, spends hours pulling back, gets a second leg only to reverse. This is the kind of trading that happens. And why is it doing that? Well, if you look at the daily chart, you're in the bottom of a strong spike. No one wants to sell below. We need to get back to the moving average. And so by using the daily chart, that's my radar. All right. If we're in a spike, then we should have some kind of channeling days when the market's kind of ended sell the close or ended buy the close. This is when you get kind of weird price action. That's one. Secondly, I'd look at the VIX. So we pull up the VIX. So look at the volatility index. Do I have my markers on this one? Yeah, okay. So if you look at the VIX is measuring volatility. So you can see the last couple of weeks, where the average, so this is 5 points a bar on ES. We've basically been double and triple that. And so what I would do is look at the VIX and say, okay, are we in the lower threshold? That's why I've got the moving averages on there. Are we around about where we need to be? Or are we starting to shoot up? That's on the weekly chart. So when the VIX is around about 15, we're at $5 a point. Here we start getting to 10 and 15 and 20. Now this is exponential. It's not just kind of cumulative. So, you know, it doesn't need to go to 30 for it to be 10 points a bar. But that's what the last couple of weeks have been. And if you go and look at ES, when it's been above that on the VIX, you'll see big days. And that's when you need to have smaller position sizes. You need to be very, very calm, you know, because you can take big losses. Does that help? That's what I would look at. So at the moment, VIX is going down, which means the market's doing what people expect it's going to be doing. It's getting back, you know, within the moving averages, so we should be okay. So we've got a similar pattern on DAX hourly that we do have, that we've got on ES, you know, we've got a bear spike and channel that's gone sideways. We probably need to get back to the moving average, 23,170. We're hovering around 23,000. We're in between both moving averages. We've had a couple of legs down. And so I think sideways or sideways to down is probably better. If I put on the Frankfurt trading hours, so we've got some pre-market, we can see we're already up here. But what do we think? This is a counter trend wedge. We've already had one counter trend wedge. And if we get above the moving average, do we think it's going to go from here all the way up, or do we think it's going to be here and possibly sideways? I think today's got potential to do that. So maybe the bulls want to get up to close these gaps, get to the top of that range. On the weekly charts, we're expecting sellers at the high of the bar. So if I do this, I'm not sure if that's the whole of the week, you know, 23,400. Do we go up here? I'll say. Yeah, so that's, I gave you the technical one, sorry, not about the psychological. Yeah, so if I don't follow my process, if I don't turn up and do my routine, like if I'm not at the computer 30 minutes before the session opens, you know, like I have a routine I follow, you know, I have my, I've got my clock set up, I've got a, you know, a timer, little buzzer that goes off to remind me it's a 5-minute bar. I'm set up and I'm ready to go. Usually if that's off to begin with, the trading is going to be off. So I can usually tell how my session's going to go by how well I follow the routine. If something emotional has happened, you know, I hung out with a mate of mine from Sydney, and you know, he's just broken up with his girlfriend of, you know, 12 years. He's moved country. He's got a lot going on. Even just being around someone like that can make you a little bit on edge. So yeah, just be kind of mindful. I don't think pushing it, you know, like you can in the gym, you're like, oh, you know, I feel weak, oh, I should train more. I think in a mental discipline, it's like, am I on or am I off? Because you can do a lot of damage. And if you're not sure, just trade a smaller size. So there you go. When in doubt, trade smaller. That's my solution. And if I'm still stressed and doing dumb things on a smaller size, then that's a good time to take a break. Where's the overnight? That's like, I think it's the DE30. I stopped setting like incremental kind of goals for myself. Just found like trading doesn't really fit neatly into like incremental goals. You know, some days, weeks, months are better than others. But the, you know, you look at the average at the end of the year and you're like, oh, well, then I should just aim for that every day. But I just didn't find that helped me too much. So interested to know whether others have had a better experience with that. That sell signal should probably be down there. That's okay. All right, so where are we going to open? So pre-market's up there. Okay, so let's try and get some measured moves on there. We've got about 7 minutes before we kick off. What's happened? We had a big spike. So we had a 3-legged pullback here. That usually turns it into a trading range. You know, you have a high 1, have a high 2. By the time you have the high 3, that's usually the end of the bull trend, and then the same for the bear trend. So failed breakout below, and then we're trying to break out of this range. So that's sell. Yeah, nice, Victor. Okay, great. Yeah, it's I just found that, yeah, that the attitude of pushing myself in the gym is kind of like, whatever, suck it up, just get in there and put a workout in. But in trading, it's like if I'm off and I'm like, nah, don't worry about it, mate. Those, those days don't end well. You just end up in positions you don't want to be, and you're like, I just said it was a double top. Why am I long? G'day, Way. Hi, Fritz. Fantastic team on. Sorry for the green. The green I can't really get rid of at the moment. I got a green screen. I didn't realize I had to customize the color, which I know nothing about. So just bear with me on that. It's like the Riddler. This whole leg looks like a leg in a trading range. So wouldn't be too surprised if we come back into it. This was really strong, really directional down to the moving average. For those that have just jumped in, we're high in a type ball channel. We're going sideways, so the channel is somewhere between there and there, and drifting around this price I think is reasonable. It'd be interesting to see if we trigger that sell signal. I'm not expecting it to drop down because of the tail, but might be drop down, go up, then go down kind of thing. We shall see. But pre-market, we've got a gap up in a spike and channel. We have gotten above the top of that sell climax. I'll just put it back onto TH. We're still in the process of getting a Brooks price action live trading room, seeing if we can do one for Europe. We want to do it through the website, so it's all kind of under the same setup, but we're also trying to update the website. We're trying to do a few things, but we're all, I suppose we're all, what's the word? We want to do it properly. We're not really in a rush to do it because we've got to do it in a way that doesn't really disturb everyone's trading. So yeah, it is on the cards. How did everyone go last week? Did you trade this last week? Oh, nice. G'day, Matt. Thanks for jumping in. Yeah, because there's a bit of a team for the Euro session. I think that'd be good. I mean, it's a much more convenient time for me in Asia, that's for sure. But I don't mind staying up. Maddie, good morning. Just finished Al Brooks videos. My brain is in freeze mode. Cannot assess the chart. Yeah, maybe that happens. It's like it's got to process so much info, and then you come back to the chart, and it's almost like just maxes out. You just need a bit of time away, have a break, hit the gym, put the books down, and then come back. It just adds layers. But it's totally get it. Even watching other traders, I went to the seminar in Orlando. I watched Al and Ali, who I've seen trade before, but you spend a lot of time listening to another trader talk through the market, and then you go to do your regular trading, and like there's additional info in there, so that routine gets broken up a bit. But it's all good for learning. I think the point is that there's many different ways to trade. Uh, I know many that I cannot trade. I know how the system works. I just don't have the character to trade it that way. So I can't, I'm not a wide stop scaling kind of guy. Sitting in a losing trade for a long time, just, I can do it in demo. I can do it with a small account, just can't do it with my regular account. So it's a bit useless. Hi, Tuan. Just let me know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Good evening. Good to see you live. Oh, good day, Ed. Thanks for joining. Victor ended the week nice. Yeah, well, it's great percentages. I mean, if you can really maintain that every week, put you in the top traders on the planet. So that's a common one I get from traders. People say, oh, I'm only making a couple of percent a week. Yeah, but you look at some of the best traders of all time, they've averaged 40% a year for 30 or 40 years. So they're not looking for 5% a day stuff. So if you're squeezing that account hard, just remember that as the account grows, it's going to be more difficult to do that emotionally. I don't have like set targets for myself. I just try and trade all of my setups that appear. Okay, so we've got a big gap up. So the close of last week's always a magnet. 23,137. Can we just hit sell the market? No, we need a signal bar, and this is a strong gap up. So this was, always in long. I wonder if we've done a measured move. Trying to find a bear bar. Okay, so there's the measured move. Low, high. Why is he purple? Hi, Leon. Good morning. Thanks for jumping on. So for those who are not familiar, I trade with our Brooks price action team. So I stream live once a week for the team. But I'm based in Asia, so I trade a bit of Asia, but mostly Euro and US sessions, mostly futures. Most of my trading is breakout, pullback, follow through trades. They're continuation trades, not a whole bunch of reversals. Keep it pretty simple. Look for gaps. I think the simplest foundation for a trading strategy is the market's either in a trend or a trading range. So my strategy for breakouts should be the opposite for a trading range. For example, if you trade a breakout pullback and a high one, for a buy in a bull trend, in a trading range, that would be a sell. So if you can find a strategy which you can flip, then you don't need two different, kind of eccentric strategies, if that makes sense. And then the third piece would be, what is my process for deciding whether something's a trading range or a trend? Kamal, that's exactly it. Thanks for saying that. If we can't decide, it is probably in a trading range. Yeah. The trickiest thing is then deciding only to take trading range trades. So I get a few traders who send me markups during the week, and a lot of them will say, yep, it's a trading range. But then, 2 bars later, they're trading a breakout. They're buying the close of a really strong bull bar. So, they're selling back. Sorry, they're selling back to the moving average here, for example. But then suddenly they're buying the close up here. It doesn't make sense. If you're already fading, then this is just another fade. You know, if you bet this gap's going to close, which it did, you're betting this gap's going to close. And what happens? So let's say you sold there. Let's put the sell. Let's sell. They switch to a buy. They get stopped out. What do? They reverse. They switch to a sell in here. They get stopped out, and they take 3 or 4 losses. So you can't have a system where your determination, that's the right word, between trend and trading range can change in one bar. That's not usually enough. Mic volume, mine's actually hitting the level, so it's hitting my decibel count here on the red. Has anyone else got a problem with volume? I mean, if I touch that, it's going to be mostly in the red. At the moment, it's in the green and the yellow. So I'll try and talk up a little bit, or maybe I can move that mic a bit closer. Okay, so bar 1, big bull bar closing on its high. So I'm not buying above bar 1 at the moment. It's Monday. It's the open of the week. I want to see whether we're going to get consecutive bars. On the daily chart, we pulled back to a new low. Okay, so we broke a swing point. Okay, so you look, we got a new high. You look back to where it came from, and we broke that. So this is a trading range. We then went all the way up, didn't get a new high. So I think in terms of a sell on the daily chart, the sellers probably want to be up, 23,500, but that might not happen today. But I want to see, first bar above the moving average in 20 bars. Let's see what they can do. Victor's saying, I find pullback particularly great. Absolutely. If you're consistently losing at your trading, get rid of reversals and wait for pullbacks. That's my best advice. Get rid of reversals first. Just forget about them. Pullbacks are good for predicting targets for second leg. Absolutely. High 2, low 2, I'm most comfortable. Mine too. I always get caught in breakouts. Yep, that's it. So so here's a good example. If you buy here, where's your stop? Now, a bad place for a stop is below 1. Does anyone know why that's a bad place for a stop? Why is that a bad place for a stop? No one's jumping on the stream. The reason it's a bad place for a stop is if you go, okay. My Kamal's saying because it's the open and moves probably reverse 50% of the time. Bad sell, probably more buyers below. Okay, this is good. Hi, Benno. Yeah, so 50% of moves on the open reverse, absolutely. If you go and research bar 1, okay, go and look through 50 to 100 charts, count the number of times bar 1 is the high or low of the day. And what you're going to find is around about 20% of the time. So the highest probability trade at the moment is to bet we're going below the low of bar 1. So if you're going to trade that as a system, and that makes sense. If you go and look at the daily chart, I mean, you can do this really easily on the daily chart. Show me how many bars, show me how many bull bars have no lower tail, and how many bear bars have no upper tail. There's a bull bar. It's the low and the open the same, 847. No, 847, 846. So we went below the low. almost every bar here has a tail at the start. And that means that opening move had a reversal on it. So big bull bar one and then a bear bar. I think at some point, I think we're going to close the gap to the low, sorry, to the close of last week. I don't know whether it's going to be from here. It would probably be better to get below one and set up a pullback sell. We're still at the measured move. 2 Tims in a row today. Yeah. Oh, that's right. Tim's moved to today. That's awesome. It's so interesting listening to other traders. It's just so interesting. And if you can do it without getting confused with your own style, or throwing out your own style and saying, "Oh no, what they're saying sounds better," which is what I used to do for a long time. Gap could act as a magnet. Yeah, I mean it's a bull bar, and it's forcing me to buy above the top of this range. But let's see. Can the bulls close above that bar? I don't like the pullback for buying above, but that I might end up getting trapped out of this. We'll see. Okay, consecutive bull bars. That close 325. That high 325. So closing at the high. So that's bad for a buy. Just if for my breakout system, I want to see consecutive bars, but I need to see a close above that high. So still consecutive bull bars for some traders, always in long, it's a gap up. But for myself, I need to find a different way to buy. Why isn't 2 like 1? I can also see, will we get a second attempt to reverse that fails? And then that's a pullback. I said. Can the bulls get a 15-minute bull bar? This is 2 closes outside of this range. So for some traders, they're going to look at this and say, yep, well, we broke out of that range. We have a measured move up here. But we'll see. That could be a little bit aggressive for a Monday morning. Would be fun, though. All right, bull's trying to get a good 15-minute bar. Bull's still having a bit of trouble getting a close above the high of the bar, so I'm going to wait for a 15-minute bar. I prefer there to be good 15-minute bulls. The issue is the stop. Stop's just too far away at the moment. No worries, Victor. Thanks for jumping on. Much appreciated. Hi, Kamal. Because we're far away from the moving average, I'm scared to buy when I see bull buys. Yeah, I totally understand. It's an open that it's worth researching. You know, go back through. Just got 5 seconds to go, and you can see bears are trying to get a bear close. Okay, so interesting. So we've got a reversal attempt and then instantly going higher. So some traders bought the close there, but it's not my thing. If you can trade a different chart, for example, if I switch this to the Frankfurt trading hours, you got pre-market. Some traders will use this to place a stop, but I'm easily confused. So, you know, I just kind of want to pick one chart. So we need to get below 3. We might be able to get an opening reversal if the bears can do something better. Thing is, at the moment, we've got new highs. So now I can't just trade a breakout below 3 for my own system. I need a break below, a pullback, and then a second leg down. So days that have a very big gap up have a very low chance of just being a rocket trend, you know, SpaceX to the moon kind of stuff. They usually turn into big kind of trading range days. But I'll still just try and trade what I see. So it's a breakout, pullback, and a high 1. I don't want to buy above a bull bar. 4's got a chance to get a buy signal. I'm just, you know, you're watching the bars and you think, well, 3 was a bull bar, closed bearish. Closes a bear bar, rocketed up and came back. So there's a lot of sideways up here. Just don't think it's strong enough to take a 70-point trade. Let's see. So I've got these numbers here. So I'm just calculating the average bar range. You can use ATR, average true range, average bar range. ATR uses the gaps. Average bar range doesn't. Personal preference. But it's just saying days at the moment are about 300 points. Bars at the moment are about 30 points. So I don't want to take trades that are less than 30. I might scalp out of a trade for less than 30 or break even or take a loss, but I don't want to go for 30, if that makes sense. Yeah, Benno, I think that's a good point. You know, we closed a gap to the bottom, and we're just creating a big triangle right now. You know, trading range behavior. Where triangle up here, just squeezing in. Hi, Schwenk. Is the gap up too big to look for a double bottom near the EMA? No, I think it's often a wedge. or a double bottom. It's some kind of test back, you know, even if you don't close the gap. So that could be possible. But yeah, I agree. We've got a gap that's 150 points. We've got an average range of somewhere between, you know, 250 and 400. So okay, well the Bulls are racing higher. I'm currently flat. 15-minute bar's got a tail on it, but traders still bought the close. So their target is, you know, 362. And the low of that day, just like you said, 23.3, I think. So let's put that on there. Hi, Nobel. Exactly the same as ES. Yep, traded exactly the same. I mean, the point count is different because the expected movement's a little bit different, but all the same price action stuff. Yeah, that's the best thing about price action. It's, you know, every chart's the same. My implementation might not be perfect, but the price action is the same. So it's a gap up and a high one buy. I'm still flat. I'd prefer to buy below something, but I'm just wondering how to get a trade on here. Maybe there's a test of that bull bar for low. And to close that gap, at some point, you know, this week there's going to be a swing short to close that gap, but I don't want to be fixated on that if we're going to go, you know, sideways stuff for the next 3 days. Still always in long. News that we got on. So we've got some news coming up in 10. We've got some European. Sorry, why don't I just put it on the screen? That'll be easy, Tim. We've got some manufacturing, 4:30, 5:30. Then we've got CPI later in the week. So we might see some volatility in about 10 minutes. Maybe that'll take us up to that gap. Because I'm on the close side of 50% to that target, I'm kind of stuck. I'd really prefer a breakout, a pullback, that target, but mad not to get it. Okay, so 15-minute bulls, they bought the close, got the target. Okay, and we've reached the gap on the daily chart. So let's just check to make sure. What's another target above? I mean, this is not a good signal on the weekly chart. Hourly chart. Okay, so we had a wedge pullback. Do we need to test 23,500? I don't. really think so at this stage, but I'll change my mind if the bulls can do more. Okay, so 15-minute bulls got 1R. Close that gap to the daily chart. So it looks like traders saw consecutive bull bars, waited for a break above, waited for a weak reversal bar, and then bought one-to-one. In my view, it's not really a one-to-one trade, but it didn't give you a chance to, buy for something more. So can the bulls get consecutive bull bars closing on the highs? Bull micro channel, every low above the low of a prior bar. Does that make every low? Yep. I wrote a post on urgency or shaved bars, just looking to see whether the size of the tail below a bull bar or the size of the tail above a bear bar. It's just a free indicator I wrote for TradingView. It's on my blog, Zen Trading Tech. If you want to go and check it out, you can find the code, put it into ChatGPT, and make it for your own software. But I think it's really useful to see what traders are doing on the close. The moment they bought the close of this bar, channel's tight. So it could end up as a small pullback bull trend. Trying to get some of a pullback entry, but so far, no luck. So we tested the daily gap. Bears trying to get a sell signal. They need to get below a bar. They need to, because this bar didn't trigger any buyers. So now that we've gone below 5, I did not buy below 5. I typically want a bar to go above the one before I buy below. And now we'll see if the bears can do some kind of a reversal. Minute chart. Bulls really need consecutive good bull bars to get buyers this high above the moving average. So this is what you don't want to see as a bull. It needs a good close. I think it's going to put a limit. Probably not going to sell below 6. Probably going to wait for a pullback and then see the follow through. But at the moment, if that's a swing point 3, where's a smaller time frame? We're doing a lot of damage to this channel. Oh, you like the blog post? Thanks, mate. It's I try and do the blog posts now really structured. I put a lot of time into them, and then I run the video off it. It takes a lot of charts, and you come up with other ideas, but it's I think it's helpful to put some drills in there. Yes, it is. That's a correct strategy in a micro channel. I'm not doing it at the moment because these bars are not as strong as I'd like, but that's why I've got the price there. So instead of taking that micro channel trade, I'm going to watch and see what happens to them. Because if they make money, then bull channel's intact. if we go down and come back, that buy setup, they'll exit break even. And that's probably where I'll sell. I think I'm a little bit more fluid than other traders. That probably makes it a little bit more difficult to follow. My apologies for that, but that's the only way I know how to trade. I look to see what are reasonable trades. I look to see what reasonable traders did, and then I look to see what happened to them. You do something reasonable, then you get stuck or trapped, then I'll often trade your exit. I call it Indiana Jones style trading. He's always saving people. So, keeps it memorable. So 6 is not what you want to see as a bull. Can the bears get back down to that measured move, or is that a test of the breakout point? Interesting. So we went back to the measured move. If I was buying in a micro channel and it closes below my entry, that's not what I want. So if this is a tail all the way up here, that would be better for bulls. So far, it's a breakout pullback of this measured move, but 6 is pretty strong. We've got news coming up. So okay, back down to the measured move target again. Interesting. What a trader's going to do at the 5 low, at the 4 close. Okay. So now the fight is on. So that was traders buy the micro channel, they get a bad entry bar, they have a chance to exit. That was kind of cool on the recording though. We got to talk through it. Some of those traders will hold and scale in. But for me in a micro channel, I did a fair few videos on this as well. I prefer to exit if I get a close below my entry. What you really want is a pullback and a tail, pullback, tail for a push up. That's really what you want. So I'm short, a small size. So micro channel buy, I don't take it. 6 is the entry. I put a sell just below that. So 15-minute, not a good close, but the bears still need to do, they need 7 to be good. Kamal, I hope I'm saying that correctly. If I'm not saying your name correctly, please just text me and I'll get it right. Us Aussies have a bad habit of giving people new names, nicknames. So I try to stop that. Hi Mosin. Okay, so Kamal's saying with all these measured moves and targets, basically we are following traders' profits, so we can guess are they going to buy or sell. Yes, that's a really good point. So the market needs uncertainty to facilitate trades, and what happens with a measured move is once it's on, the market usually needs to get there to get it back to uncertainty. So I'm looking at where I think, if a trader buys 1, for me, the stop's down here. So for me, there's no trade. If a trader buys 4, the stop's here. Okay, so I'm trying to guess what a reasonable trader is going to do because I'm familiar with a lot of different trading systems. Okay, if I'm a micro channel trader, I'm buying below 4 and they're about to get stopped out. If they don't get stopped out, well, that means something for my short because that means all the bulls are still in. So so if we break below this range, That was the measured move target we reached. That was a gap that was closed. We're in a trading range on a higher time frame, so there's a good chance we'll get a swing down. At the moment, bears can't get below that price. So, if the bears don't run that stop, okay, they just did. That's better for the bears. This is still a bull breakout, so it can channel down. Nice. Can the bears close below the low of 1? So this has put the market, I think, always in short if we go below 2, or at least in a trading range where the bottom of the range is reasonable for you to be down here. Bulls need to work very hard here. If a trader bought more below 1, they're back at their entry. I would not. I'm currently short. I took some off at the 1 low, but I want to add back on if I get a pullback. The trouble with going short on a gap up is your counter to what the price action has been doing here. So let's see. Oh, sorry, we've got questions. Are you waiting for the breakouts? Micro channel pullback short. Well, I took it. So that one, they got long. That was the close to exit. So I sold just above, betting they'll abandon that trade down to the low. But now the same trade's going to apply. Can the bears get a pullback and a sell? What's tricky about learning trading, I think, is that everything's explained like it's really clear cut. Like, oh, we've broken out of this range, we must go up. Not really. Bears are going to try twice to close back in this range, and this attempt was really good. So even if we go up, they're going to try again. Because once we are back in this range, now we're back in a trading range, and targets go down here. So that flexibility, I think, is really annoying to learn in trading. It's just so annoying. And you're like, how come you bought there but you didn't buy there and it looks the same? And the trader's like, oh, because of this. And you're like, man, there's a million exceptions. It's annoying. I think you're making it up. Victor's back in. How do you handle multiple brokerage accounts? I just trade one. Like, I don't like copy trade accounts or anything like that. I tried, but it was too much for me to think about. I'll just, because I'm looking at the market, I'm looking at, just too much stuff. So, but I know traders that do that really well, and they've trained that in. I'm seeing a tradable range on gold, and Al would take a second entry short from the resistance. Is my, I'm just doing DAX at the moment, but I'll take a look in a second. Mohsin. Hi, Noble. I don't have any other social media. I've been posting some stuff to Twitter, X, but I'm a bit half-assed about it. Because, so it's basically Discord on the Brooks Price Action and my YouTube. I really appreciate the support. I'm going to try and get something a little bit more regular. I've set up a bit of a coaching program with some like modules for people to practice, but it's all in beta at the moment. I mean, if you'd be interested in you know, having a look at the modules. It's to do with marking up your trades and a bit of a process. Just send us a message and I'll happy to send you the link. You know, all it requires is marking up trades in a certain way and then posting them on a Google Doc. But I'm not 100% sure how to coach others on trading. I've managed to coach myself, so you know, one success, but I can't really guarantee it for other people. But the way I mark up my trades certainly helped me. So yeah, can you find me on Discord or and I can send you a link. It's just in Google Classroom to try and yeah, just see if the instructions make sense. Okay, so the moment, good reversal bar back to the one high. So I might just close. I'll see. This is what I mean about selling in a gap up. So I want to see what this close is like. If it's not a good buy signal, then I probably won't close it. It's that interplay of, is my entry a good exit for someone else? Is my exit a good entry? So at the moment, that is not a good signal. So close back above the open, but under the range. If you're flat, I wouldn't buy above that bar. Still in a trading range. I think this probably needs a second leg. This is what I was saying on the open. You get that, this was a strong bull bar, and you're like, it can get follow through and become a huge trend, but it usually has a bit of trouble. So I'm just expecting a broader channel. So bears got a new low. So we've had a gap up, we broke a swing point. Be interesting to see what happens above 8. If this bar is a bull trend bar, we've got a great setup for a double bottom bull flag. Yeah, now it's a weaker bull bar, so it's probably a swing entry. The difficulty is, where do you put your stop for this trade? But I agree, you know, bulls are waiting for a breakout pullback. I think 7-8 needs a little bit more, but let's see. Is it possible to have limit sell below 6? Yeah, so usually if there's a signal bar in the opposite direction, I won't do that, but I'm thinking the same here. You know, if eight's weak, if 9 is also weak, I think it's reasonable selling under 6 or selling above 7 and just keep the stop tight. You know, if you get a big bull bar, just take the small loss, don't scale in. And it will be better if it doesn't get there, I think, because everyone wanted that trade. So you can see not a lot of bulls above that bar. There were bears. So I think the buy, if you were going to buy below that bar, I think that's a dangerous trade. Still not clear. If 9's a bear bar, it's going to be a reasonable low one short. And, you know, you just take a shot that the next bar is going to be down. And if it's not, you can just get out. Bulls still want some kind of a wedge pullback, but the magnet will be the close of last week. 60-minute moving average, something down. So I'm going to try and add to my short. I really don't want 9 to be a 100-point bear bar. That's not going to help me. But sometimes you get those days, you know what I mean? And you're just like, oh, well, just have to wait another hour or so. Okay, so good bear bar 9. So I think it's a breakout pullback, low one short. Good looking 15-minute bar, but I think a wider stop's going to be better. So will 8 come up and touch the 8 low? Reasonable to be short, and you're just hoping to get a good entry bar. Can this just be a pullback to the moving average? Yep, but we'll need to see a good looking signal bar to get out of a short. Mate, I'm glad we got it on the stream, that perfect sell. Mate, the trick is to go like, where is the perfect sell? All right, and go, okay, now remember to fill my order, I've got to be 1 tick below or here 1 point below. And am I happy to miss it? Or am I, you know what I mean? Okay, well, let's take a couple of points. So it's usually a range because there's nothing worse than missing it by 1 tick. And last week I had a few of those and you're like, come on, man. Like, really? Like, there's no need to be stingy. You're just trying to get short. If 1 point is a big deal, your size is way too large. So, but that was cool because that's what I mean about like reasonable trade. I don't want to take it. And then it was just lucky we got it on video. To put it next to all the other videos where I call it, this is a bull bar and we get a big bull trend and I'm trapped out. Which is the problem with, live streams. I've had a few opposite days as well, where it seems like everyone on the stream made more points than me. I was like, man, what are you doing? So triggering the 15-minute bar on 9, and bulls are going to try again, I think, to keep it in that range. Bulls trying to get the buy signal. If 10's a good buy signal, they're going to need follow through. So, I mean, the ejector seat would be, 10, 11's strong bull bars. Well, I don't really want to be short, but this buy failed. This buy failed. They really need 10 to be strong. Okay, so have they closed that gap? Okay, so bad entry bar for the Bears. Did they trigger it? Oh, it's pretty tight, isn't it? That'd be better if it's a failed high two down. Let's see. What was the reason you did not buy below 6? Oh, do you mean 5? Yeah, I didn't buy below 5 because of the tails. So when it's not as strong as I want it to be, I usually say, okay, well, I'd prefer to buy in the lower third, lower half. And I'll look to see what the entry bar is. Oh, hi, good things. Thanks very much. Much appreciated. I'm going to try and do some more streams for Euro. Okay, so triggering above 10. So swing bulls are trying to get long. I'm still short. I've got a high position and a low position. And, if it's going to be consecutive bull bars, I'll just start get that trade. There might be some 15-minute bulls under their buy signal. It's not the way I like to trade, but it's reasonable. Will the Bears get out on the 9 close or the 9 low? I'm holding because I don't think they will. But I've got like a 1-2 kind of setup. Okay, well, 8's a bit of a problem as an entry bar. If 10's also a bull bar, I'll just cut it. But if 10's a weak buy signal, I'll stay. Okay, so sell the closed Bears have had a chance to exit, but someone who sold under 9 hasn't. Do I really know if traders think this way? Not at all. Like, there's absolutely no way I can confirm it. But it seems to put you on the right side of the market. It's what Alcohol's always in. Kind of helps you get in sync, I think. But I can't confirm any of it. I can just look at my own trading. So, can the Bears get another sell signal? 1, pause. 2, get at least back to the moving average. And the bears close below 9. I'll get some alert. Yeah, oh, yes. Is it because of the wicks on the top of bar 2 to 5? Yes, exactly right. Because when I see that, I know spike channel, a channel is half a trading range, and it really needs to look good to keep the spike going. And when it doesn't look good, that's probably the time I need to go, just wait. It's that little filter. Okay, so bulls failing on 11. First, I'm going to pull my stops down before I think about any exits. My stops are above 9. But it looks like we're in a bit of a channel here as well. Nice. Okay, so we've closed below that 15-minute bar. So we need to go below 11. It is the moving average. So, bears need to really crash through. Didn't close below 10, but we're just kind of drifting down. Yeah, does that make sense, Schwenk, on why I did that? The bull's trying to get 1, 2, 3. This is the wedge pullback. I think someone, sorry if I've forgotten your name. Someone said high 2 at the moving average. It's a credible wedge attempt from the bulls. If the buy sets up, it will be for me to get out of my short. There's a gap from the bears here. This is all pretty tight. So it's the same pattern in reverse. So spike channel, spike channel. So if, for example, the bears can get a really strong breakout down, it's probably just going to keep hitting profit taking. Still short. Looking at the Zen ABR Pine code. Nice. Yeah, I had a bit of help with. Oh, was that ChatGPT then? I wrote some. I learned it all, and then I swear, a year later, ChatGPT, or 2 years later, it comes out. Makes it easy. Yeah, you can use ATR. Yeah, same. It's the same thing. It's just to make sure that I'm looking for stops and profit targets that have a relationship to the bar size. Like if someone said, "Oh, I made 100 points," like that's cool, but is the ABR 100? Okay, so it's one bar range. I kind of just shrink it all into a bar range. Okay, so bears having a little bit of trouble on bar 12. 12 and 13 need to be very, very good for me to somehow switch to long. So, yes, it's a gap up. Yes, it's a 50% pullback. But I think this is pretty tight. That blue line's the open. I pay attention to see whether the traders can get back above the open. It's looking like I'm going to break even on that second position. We've triggered one, we've triggered two. I won't stay short if we go above 12. Too many reversals. I assume you're not considering gaps intentionally. Oh, sorry. Yes, just the bars. Okay, so out of shorts above this bar, the high is 23,270. So if it triggers the bull entry, that's a see you later for shorts. Okay, so out of shorts. Can other traders see a wedge pullback long? It's reasonable. It's tough because it's sideways. I think other traders will wait for follow through. Let's just look at this. These orders. Okay, 60-40. Okay. Oh, g'day, Tom. Thanks for jumping on, mate. So Bears able to get about 100 points from the 5 low down. They've had basically 3 attempts. We've triggered what could be a wedge bottom buy signal above 12. I'm flat. I closed my short. I had a couple of profitable positions and then a break even. So I was hoping we are going to go down here, but hope not so useful. So here we go, 60-minute bar. So this was a big bull bar closing on its high. And by waiting to see what happens, this is now a very bad buy signal. Okay, no one wants to buy above the high of that bar unless this is incredibly bullish. So we broke out of the range on the red line, wondering if sellers are going to step in somewhere here. Will sellers sell the open of the day? Top of this sell climax. We broke out of this range and bulls wanted this to go up here somewhere. And now we're back in the range. So one of the problems for the bull case is we're in the top third of a trading range. Now you can argue the range is here. In which case you're selling up here, trying to get back down. But the bull's going to need to do something here. Wedge bottom, bulls targeting the mid of the range. Yeah, that's reasonable. It's a big signal bar, and I'd prefer to see more bullishness to get long, but it was enough for me to get out of that short. One of the toughest patterns, I think, if you're trading this style, is going to be an 0-0. Because if you're getting in and out on triggering bars, at some point you're going to trigger this, then trigger below, then trigger above. It's a bit of a kryptonite. So right now, more bears were selling again. Tom's, I like to wait for the follow through on the outside bar. Yeah, me too. I think that's That's the kind of nail in the coffin for the limit order traders to get out of the way. You see on YouTube those blokes that are like, oh, I've got a, 95% strategy. I've won 200 days in a row, blah, blah, blah. They usually trade bracket orders. They're trading breakouts, go above. And then if it goes below, sell. The kryptonite for them is also an OO. Because what they do is they get long on a position and they go, oh, okay, if we go below, I'll, 5 times the size, reduce my target and scalp below. But what if you go above and below? Then you take 6R loss. So I call shenanigans on a lot of those systems. They're usually like, oh, look at the back testing I did. It looks great. All right, well, I want to see you manage it live. What happens when it's an OOO? So you take a 1R loss, then a 5R loss, and then a 10R loss. Just undo a whole month. Maybe you can do it on a smaller time frame with a computer, but why would you trade 1R every day and then take like 13R losses? Just doesn't make any sense to me that way. Okay, so bulls fighting at the moving average. We triggered the buy reverse, didn't go below it. We got a sell signal, didn't trigger. Tim Stout's long because he's pushing the market up. Can the bulls get follow through 15-minute buying? If I had bought above 12 and I saw a 13 as an entry bar, I would get out there. And then if you get a bull bar, you can re-enter. Bulls need to get back above the open of the day. They need to get back out of this range. How's the weather in England, Tom? We just got our first bit of sunshine in Taipei this weekend. I mean, it's usually only cold in January, like December, and it's back to scorching hot. 90% humidity. Ah, classic London town, the drizzle. To be honest, every time I've been to London, I end up just cycling in the drizzle. I'm like, nah, I've got to be outside. I just, people look at you as they're knocking down their pints like, who's that tourist? Man, what do you do here? Very tight range. So stop entry, probably not a good idea. The last stop entry was below 11. So I don't think these bears, the 15-minute bears didn't get stuck. It's just a breakout test of that breakout point. As long as there's no close above that open of the day, I think some of those 15-minute bears just stay short. I need to try and get back in. Cam's picking back up. Here's everyone sunbaking on the what do you guys call it? Not medium strip, sidewalk. So breakout modes. Is that buy signal enough to get long, or the target is the gap close of the week? Needed to go below 13. So there'll be a pullback short, but also bulls trying to reverse it up to buy. So targets, close of last week. That's basically the 2-to-1 short. And for bulls, what do? Where's their stop? Will the bears swing from here, stop above 9, 2R down to the close of the week, or will the bulls take it over? It needs to be uncertain for a swing to work. If it's really, really clear, it's usually a scalp. And that sucks because you do the right thing, you're ready to go, and, doesn't do what you want. I don't think the bulls did enough above 13. I wouldn't be buying above 14. Bears are going to try again, I think. I basically sold again at the blue line, just a small position. And if that doesn't work, I'll stop trying to get short. I mean, it's a breakout pullback, sorry, spike and a pullback on the daily chart, but no new high. 15-minute chart. Can the bears close below that bar on the 15-minute chart? Tom's saying, thinking wait for an inside bar to trigger. They close and then try and enter. Yeah, it's a good idea. I think these 15-minute bears need to try a bit harder. Okay. Break even on that one. Just running up the comms today, hey? See, 6 was good because we closed below the buy signal. But this has been, everyone's happy with the range. So far, more traders selling the close 15. Uh, 15 is an inside bar. It's an II, so it's leg 3 breakout mode. But I mean, you can tell breakout mode from the bars before. Someone needs to do something strong here. If a bull bought above 10, they buy more below, they exit. If a bull buys 12, it goes down, terrible entry bar, they exit. Now they've got another buy on 15 and we haven't triggered. So far, everyone seems to be happy with this price. I think because we're at 50-50 basically. Not much for stop entry traders to do. Okay, bears need to do something 16. Currently not doing much. Is it a pullback to go long? Is it part of a move to go short? I think it's 50-50. And so I won't usually take a stop entry when it's 50-50. I'd like to see bulls buy, close back above the open of the day. In this situation, you can see how reversing would send you bananas. So you need some way of handling bars that are just going sideways like this. So, you short, you sell, it works, you sell again, you get out break even. Then you sell again, you get out break even. Okay, stop selling. It's not doing what you think it's doing. Another tricky thing about breakout mode is at some point, if it keeps going down, I need to get short again. But I'm going to need some kind of a spike, I think. Okay, so now bears trying to get the sell, 16-week buy signal. They need to get below all this. The target is still close of last week. Hi Schwenk, what I find difficult, how can a beginner know she's doing the right thing when a couple of reasonable trades fails in a row? Aha, yes. Do you have an example of bar numbers you could post? You just give me the chart, the date, the bar number, and how you entered, and I'll take a look. Usually it's a context thing, and that's which has to do with leg count, has to do with the open. So we can take a look. It's a great question, really good question. If you're doing reasonable things and they're not working, there's a good chance you're in a trading range. So I'm not currently short. I'm trying to get short, but I need bears to do something better here. Traders couldn't get long above 15. It didn't work if you bought the close. So you can see what's happening. Traders are selling, pull back, they're unhappy. Traders buying, pull back, they're exiting unhappy, and there's just a lot of scalping going on. Schwenk, you're also welcome to send me a chart. If you find the Brooks Price Action Discord and look for Tim F, my name will be in blue as one of the admins, so you can say hi there. Yeah, that's what I thought, because you're saying when Al says the probability is always between 40 and 60% for most of the chart. But the question is then, where's the stop? Okay, so bears trying to take it over. Can they get a good close below that range? Be their first close below the moving average. They want this wedge pullback to fail and go down lower. Yeah, so if you tell me the bar numbers and the trades and the charts, and then I can take a look, because it might be that the trades are reasonable. It might be that they looked reasonable, but because it's a late leg, it's not. Or it might be that what happened before is a reversal. So that's what I'm saying. You know, okay, so Bears getting a good close on 17. I don't think it's sell the close, but there's going to be more traders selling, you know, below 17. But same again, you know, bulls need to stop the overlap. Limit of the 12 low. Yeah, exactly. I'm thinking along those lines. We've triggered 17. On the 15-minute chart, those bulls, you know, just hoping this is going to be a channel they're going to keep buying, but I suspect they're going to exit. But if we miss that sell, oh, there we go. Okay, so so fast. So if that target is still the same, let's see. Well, if you sold 17, you didn't quite get to 1R. Just doing some regular channeling behavior. I think that's enough of a breakout. Put it back into always in short. Can you be buying down here, betting it's a trading range? Look, buys are just not working yet, so you need, you know, 18, 19, 20 to do something. 17 closed, yeah. I mean, 17 low triggered. I mean, 12, the 12 low could still be in play, but at the moment, it's it was very fast. Let's see. Maybe the 17 low. Well, we're short. I just wanted to be short a larger position. It's been a bit that way all morning, eh? And the Bears get consecutive bear bars again. Is this still a wedge? Well, it's not doing a lot for the bulls, so it's probably still sell and sell above. Channeling behavior. The sell might be above 18, somewhere in this range. Is the ABR very large? 30, 40 points. So the close of 17 is 212. So we're testing that close. Mateo's saying measured move down from 1 to 5. Yeah, that makes sense. For a short, if you were short here for that measured move. Question, Schwenk, could you please explain why bar 18 is not a good long setup? So bar 18 is not a good long setup because it's a bear bar. So we'd say that's a weak sell above. It's much better if that's a bull bar for the scalp long. Also, this is a bear breakout, so 2 closes below this tight range. So you'd expect this range itself to get a measured move. But also, this trend line hasn't been broken. So if you take that buy, sometimes it's going to work, but you need a system that's going to prevent you from buying, taking a loss, buying, taking a loss, buying, taking a loss. And so the way you kind of modify that system, I think is really important. So for me, if I wanted to take a reversal, I really need the last bears to lose money. So far, bears that sold the close of 17 and the 17 low, they're okay. They got a bear entry bar. They're short. So I'm still short, but now I need 19 to do something different. The bulls had a chance to get a wedge. So 1 reversal, 2, 3, and then we just broke below. So I'm hoping we're going to go down to those targets below. But we might be doing it the slow way. So somewhere within a scalp of this range, I think's reasonable. Nice. Okay, so we're getting a bit more movement down. Nice one. Just below the 17 close. Here, this one. Sorry, that's heaps small on the screen. Sorry. So because I missed the short on this bar, I'll pull my order down because I've got to chase, right? And I only just got filled by like a point or two. So that's what I was saying when it could be the 12 low. Then we triggered and we didn't get the entry to like the 16 low or somewhere. So that my chasing is then I'll just try and drag it down a little bit further than I want. Here I got a beauty, but yeah, this one forced me a bit lower. Yeah, the chasing plan, and I just never had a chasing plan before. I would just, oh, I missed it. I'll just trade the same size 10 points higher, not realizing I'm now positioned it's too large again. So that that was just such an annoying part of my trading. Um, so we're within a scalp of the weekly close. Bears would like to get all the way back. If you miss the first entry, then sell at the worst price. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And you're like, oh no, so by the time you hit the button, and that's why it's tough to trade during a bar because you get filled at the low of 18. And then you close like that and you're like, oh, I've done it again. And you just never where you want to be. Reduces reward, heightens my risk and stress. Exactly. And you're like, man, how'd I do all of them at the same time? So it's like, okay, if I'm going to trade, 4 contracts at a particular price, if I miss that entry, okay, it's gone down to 3 or 2 or 1. Just got to have a plan. So a lot of bulls buying the close of 19. They're betting they can buy here and buy lower. There's a lot of reversals. 1, 2, 3, 4. By the time you get 5 and 6, it's probably done. If 80% of reversals fail in a trend, then their odds are starting to get better. But 3 consecutive bear bars. Probably need at least one more bear bar. We'll see. Managed to get tea down my shirt. Fantastic. Not usually so difficult, the teacup, but so if I had to break today's price action into a couple of transition points, I'm trying to come up with drills that can help. One is big gap up, so it's a breakout, but stop is far away, and that usually means trading range. As we work closer to a stop that's going to be acceptable to the bulls. Secondly, we were at a measured move target and we broke very weakly above it. We did test it, that was good, and then broke through it. And the risk when you break out of a range and then come back to it is, well, the range goes all the way to the bottom, and that's a bit of a problem. So we're now at 50% of that whole range. So, it's actually better for bulls to scale in here and lower. I wouldn't do it because, you just, the points needed is just too big. Right? You don't want to be underwater 100 points and then be still scaling in. That's a way to have a terrible start to a week. So what else? Now you've got consecutive good bear bars. Bulls got trapped. Selling a test back, breakout pullback, sideways, okay to get out. And then you've got consecutive bear bars. Traders are short. but short in a channel. So the moment you hit that button, you're going to have a pullback. If you're in a bull channel, the moment you hit buy, you're pulling back. So same again, bulls trying to get a buy signal, 19, inside bar. Do you have to get out of your short? 3 bear bars, I think we'll probably go a little bit lower, probably run the stop on 20. 15-minute bears have just been going down pretty gently, so. Is it sell the close, stop above 17? Yeah, the stop's above 17. I mean, the question is that enough of the test of the close of the week? Or do we need to actually go and overlap it? All the buys have failed. So if I was flat, I wouldn't get long until other bulls are in the market. I'm short, so any buy signal will just take me out of my short. Yeah, yeah. Thanks, Tom. I think that was the key. I totally forgot about the wedge. 1, 2, 3, and now we've got a spike out of that wedge. So it's on the bears. Thanks for bringing that up. I saw the high 2 failed, and I saw the wedge attempt, but this the measured move and a push down, I think, is more likely. Looks like bears are selling into the sell zone, you know, sell in the middle of the bar, sell above. Is today going to be a big bear day and go down here? No, I don't think so. Lots of bull bars. Bears need to do a lot more, I think. Just looking at some of these questions I might have missed. Dendane Jalil, I hope I've pronounced that correctly. How long before profitable? Many years. So I've been trading a little over 10 years, but it took, I don't know, 5, 6. Because I was trading stocks and then I tried day trading and I was switching systems, I just kept losing. I just kept developing a bit of knowledge and then throwing it away. So I found Al's material, over 10 years ago, but it was just too difficult. I was like, nah, I'm not willing to spend that much time. And then I kind of came full circle after trying about, 10, 11 other courses, and each one's $1,500, it seems. And, books and videos, and, trade the daily chart and trade dojis and trade MACD, RSI, divergence, moving average crossovers, correlations, looking at whether bonds and, we risk on, risk off, just so many systems. And just didn't like trading. Just hated it. I was just upset. I was losing thousands and tens of thousands of dollars. And I just sucked. And when I finally came back to our system of just looking bar by bar, it finally started to make more sense. I was like, yeah, actually, every other system has its own little edge. But this way of looking at the market can actually explain a lot of those systems. So I stuck with that. But the real key for me was not to find more setups. It was actually to look at my common mistakes. So I realized I had about 10 kind of groups of mistakes. For example, entering on a late leg and scaling in, that's a mistake. Reversing too often in a trading range, that's a mistake. Buying when the bears are on a swing down, that's a mistake. I had many of those, and I found that when I kind of tracked through my trading, I would repeat them so often, like every day, every week. So I just went to work on changing my behavior. And then that's when I got profitable, and then I've just followed that system ever since. So I just really work on my own trading and execution as opposed to anything any setups or levels or institutional stuff, whatever. I don't really care about that stuff. Okay, so another II, so more breakout mode. What do you do here if you're short? It's not a good entry bar for the 15-minute bears, but we'll probably go down still and let them out. Okay to get out of shorts above. If you think the wedge is still in play, none of these bulls got long on 20. So I just spent many years trying to find the perfect setup, and instead of ever going to try and fix the mistakes that I repeated all the time. So, there's no chance it was going to work without it. Okay, bulls going above the II. They're buying under the moving average, but we're in 2 flat moving averages here, so we might have a bit more trading range sideways to down. I might actually wrap up the stream there. Had a couple of shorts, had a couple of break evens, and yeah, I think that's a good start for the Monday. If you're in the Brooks price action trading room, Monsieur Tim Stouts will be taking on the stream on ES this evening. If you find the Discord or brookspriceaction.com, and you can find the link there. Yeah, Tom, that scaling into losers, it was just, I could do 19 days in a row green, and then one day annihilate it all and more. And you go into the weekend and you're upset, and then that week's even worse, and then you just, yeah, it's just, and that cycle's really hard to break, but you've got to find that trade, So, yeah, thanks very much, everyone, for jumping on. I hope it was valuable. You're welcome to send me a message. You can send me an email, zentradingtech at gmail.com, or find me on Discord. It's probably easier. Brooks Price Action. Look for TMF. Yeah, it is a vicious circle, and but it's that same trade. I had a trader send me some charts on the weekend. Same thing. They had green day, green day, green day, and then scaling in to a late buy, leg 3, buy more, take a huge loss. And then now in a trading range, selling low, take a loss, buy, take a loss. And you're like, that out of sync feeling's horrible, because you keep doing what you think you should do, but it just keeps smashing you. So awesome. Thanks, everyone. Cheers, Matteo. And I'll catch you guys in the stream. I think I'm on Wednesday. So I'll catch you then. Tim's on tonight. And then I think Rose and Brad, Al on Tuesday, and Rose and Brad taking me to the close. Cheers. Thanks, everyone. Take it easy.